But we had a lot of traditions. I mean, a lot of traditions. Basically, a lot of it revolved around food. Traditions again on Christmas Eve. Again, we didn't have the five fishes, but I remember, it was always crab trapino. It was cod. It was always fish on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day was always my grandma Lena always made homemade raviolis, braciole, stewed meat with bone. Always had homemade meatballs. That was a big deal at Christmas. And she also made a pasta. It was called strussenut. And that was homemade pasta, and she used the back of a butter knife and made these little hats. I remember that. She had the big cutting board out and would always make a pasta called strussenut. And that I remember that distinctly. Along with that, always Easter was lamb. We always had lamb on Easter, and that was one of our traditions that always went on. There was also another dish that I remember distinctly. It was called cheldet. Cheldet is our version of bruschetta. Cheldet is like 4-day-old bread that is sliced with tomatoes, onions, and oregano, salt and pepper. And you would wet the bread a little bit, and then they would put the bruschetta on top of this 3-4-day-old bread. I remember that distinctly and loved it. But our parents were really from nothing. They were poor, and they were from nothing, and they worked hard, and they appreciated what they had, and they always would make a peasant pasta with olive oil, garlic, hot chili flake, and maybe some anchovy. Chicken cutlets was a big deal, lightly breaded, pounded, lightly breaded chicken cutlets. We also made a dish called peas and past, and that was basically pasta with peas in it, and also with pasta with broccoli. Again, olive oil, a lot of olive oil in our dialect, and just really, really, really tasted good. On my great-grandparents' side, the Fiataroni side, which turned into be the Dibuduo side through marriage, they would always, I remember laying out lapini beans and pickling those beans, jarring those beans up on the kitchen table. And I see those now in the delis, and it reminds me of my great-grandparents and grandparents, the lapini beans. Always, too, there was Italian peppers. Always Italian pepper sandwiches with salami, mortadella, pepper jack. They would always put together some sandwiches. We always had sandwiches all the time. During the holidays, again, roasted chestnuts were real popular in our family. The desserts were always, there was a desserts called a pasette. Passettes were basically it was a cookie that had like sugar and almond in it and brown sugar inside it, and it was baked. Also, my grandma Lena would make fried dough. She would fry the dough and then put powdered sugar on it, and it was cut in different sizes. I distinctly remember that. And always there was tautads in our family. Tautads those were very, very common in our family. And what we really liked a lot that my brother and I, Matt, my only brother Matt, we always loved the lemon cookies. They always had lemon cookies on both sides of our family, the Dibuduo side as well as the Defendis side. There was always lemon cookies. And there was always a couple other little dishes too that they always made. Again, chicken in the oven with stewed tomatoes and rosemary. They also made rabbit. They also had a dish called with rabbit with vinegar and rosemary, onion. It was just excellent, and I really miss those days. We had a lot of tradition in our family. It's unfortunate that most everyone has passed. My brother and I are still here. We do have some cousins in Santa Barbara left, but most everyone has passed on, and I really hope they're all together.